Hello, everyone. Welcome. Sideline Brief Podcast here. We are on episode 186, NFL games of the week for week 3. We will go over that today. Recording on Wednesday. You guys will see this most likely sometime on Thursday. We'll see when we can get this one out. But week 3 NFL games of the week. Plus, we're going to preview ESPN's very first PLE of the WWE. WrestlePalooza, especially put on for ESPN as their first live pay-per-view event, or PLE premium live event. We will go over the matches. We got Cena versus Brock Lesnar. We got the Usos versus the Brawns. We got another couple matches that we will educate you guys on. So, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. Right into NFL game week or games of the week for week 3. Of course, we get our Thursday night game. Not too excited about this one. I believe it's Bills and Dolphins. Dolphins. What can you say about the Dolphins? They have looked bad through the first 2 weeks. Week 2 was an improvement over week 1, where it wasn't an overreaction to say that the Dolphins were terrible. And week 2. Against the Patriots, they looked better at points, but still wasn't enough to beat a second-year QB and Drake May. And the Patriots defense actually gave up more points than I was thinking they would. Now the Dolphins have, they lost a lot of people just in terms of in free agency. They lost a lot of people, but also, I think Waddle's questionable. Tyreek Hill honestly still hasn't produced. Tua looked better. It says Tyreek here as 10 receptions or 149 yards, but he's not making an impact on the field like you can say his first couple of years in Miami. So we'll see if this is the game where Tyreek makes his imprint, because they will need all the help they can get. The Dolphins will need to win this one. They're playing in New York. I don't think it's going to be super cold. As you see right here, it says 68. So not Miami weather, but not freezing cold. So I don't think weather is the typical factor as it would be late in the season. But, the Bills are going to kill them. The Bills killed the Jets, and I thought the Jets had a chance to cover the spread. I don't think the Dolphins will cover the spread. But, with spreads this high, guys, it's hard to even fathom betting an 11.5 spread. Excuse me. If anything, just take the over on this one. I think a lot of the overs have hit through the first 2 weeks. It's only been a couple snooze games. Mainly, the Chargers is an example. Last week, Chargers Raiders, where that was kind of a snooze fest. It was looking like the over might hit at one point, but it became a snooze fest. I think that it was 20-9. So, this is one where I feel very confident in taking the over, but do as you wish with your money in this gambling space. Other than that, no Friday games. So on to Sunday, of course, we're going to talk about my Bengals. Before you say anything about the Bengals, hey, if your team ain't 2-0, I don't want to hear you say foot or ball. If your team didn't even win in week 2, I don't want to hear you say foot or ball. Let's speak about football, all right? Sorry, Lawrence, your Panthers 0-2. Can't say foot or ball even when you get back, all right? Now, Bengals have a good shot to go 3-0. Matchup predictor has Minnesota winning this one. I just don't see it. JJ is out for this week with a high ankle sprain. Aaron Jones is out. He's put on IR, so he's out for at least 4 weeks. And then I think their left tackle is still out as well. So Trey Hendrickson is going to feast on this left tackle, whoever it is. The backup, maybe it's a practice squad guy. I'm not too sure who it is, but I think he's going to feast. No Shamar Stewart for us, but he usually lines up on the right tackle, and he's been splitting reps with Miles Murphy and Osai. So it sucks that Shamar is out, but other than week 1, he wasn't really making an impact. Like week 2, he was, it was more hit or miss than week 1. You was like, okay, this kid has some potential. He's kind of flashing on the screen, but I think Miles Murphy and Osai can do just a good job. People are kind of hyping up Brian Flores in his defense this year. He's always been a good defensive coordinator. I'm just not seeing it this year. I mean, yeah, you play the Bears, but the Bears were moving the ball against the Vikings for whatever reasons. They just stopped doing what was working, and I do not understand. That goes for both sides of the ball. So I can't talk about week one and then week two. I think the Vikings just had a bad game in week two. Like I think that's just uh, what it came down to. I think they just had a bad game, and Atlanta was moving the ball fairly easily. Michael Penix didn't really seem too flustered, so I'm not scared of the defense. What I am scared of is our DBs. I think Cam Taylor-Britt is dealing with a hamstring. I think it's minor, but still, you know how the hamstrings go. He probably will not play this week. If I had to guess, you don't want to, aggravate a hamstring more and then you're out for half the season. Like we do, I think the Bengals want to avoid that one. So I'm gonna go Bengals in this one, guys. I think they have a real shot um, here. I think if you're putting it in a parlay, you take the spread, maybe buy a couple points, maybe do like 4.5 or 5.5 points. But if you just want to squeeze the juice, squeeze as much juice as you can, you take the money line on this one, take Bengals money line. I don't see the Vikings winning this one, even though they're at home. I don't trust Carson Wentz. You got Jordan Mason, but he's not as dynamic as a back as Aaron Jones. So you just basically worrying about him as a running threat. And the run defense has been pretty, I mean, not going to say top 10, but they are knocking on the door of a top 10 run defense. They have been very solid units. So I think if they can keep that up and get some pressure on that backup left tackle and keep Wentz flustered all night, this will be not a walk in the park, but this will be a way easier game than people are anticipating. So I'll take Bengals on this one. Packers Browns, not worth talking about, guys. We're going to skip a couple until we get to the Rams Eagles. Probably, if I'm being honest, probably the only other 1 o'clock game worth watching if you're not like a fan of said team. Rams Eagles, I'm predicting this is NFC Championship matchup. Rams have looked very good. Stafford doesn't look too limited by his injured back that he had during the preseason. And the Eagles look impressive in both of their games, not only against the Cowboys, but last week against the Chiefs. My only thing about the Eagles is their secondary is suspect. You know, they traded C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They let Slay go. These new guys they got on their back end have been getting picked on. It just sucks that the Chiefs don't have any receivers to take advantage of that. So it didn't look like that last week, but you saw from the Cowboys game how they were kind of just picking on their back end. So the Rams, they got receivers. They got Puka. They got Devontae. They got the tight end Higbee. They got Kyron Williams who can catch up the backfield. And Kyron Williams is going to be a huge problem for the Eagles. They got Jalen Carter and they got good run defense, but I don't know. I think the Rams can do something here. I mean, this is the same with the Bengals. Like in terms of spread, in terms of betting wise, like you take the spread. If you're in a parlay, if you just want to be safe, take the spread 2.5 points. Like I get it, I would do that as well. But um, if you want to squeeze the juice, take the money line. I think the Eagles probably they. I'm not anticipating the Eagles losing, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams won. Would not be shocked if they won because the Rams have had great quarterback play by Stafford. So if he can keep it up through week 3 and pick on these new Eagles DBs, then they will have some success for sure. Jets Buccaneers, yeah, I mean Jets don't stand a chance without Justin Fields. I think Baker's been dealing, he's been wheeling and dealing, and although I think they lost one of their guards today during practice, so they will have a practice squad or a backup guy filling in the starting unit. So that's one loss for the Bucs, but they still got more than that firepower. And Raiders Commanders, most likely Jaden will not be playing in this game due to his knee sprain. So Marcus Mariota will be the starter most likely in this Raiders Commanders game. So that makes things a little interesting. I think that one could go either way. Falcons, Panthers. Sorry, Lawrence. Panthers going to lose this one. Then Texans, Jags. Another one that could go either way. Honestly, the Jags. How can I say this without being rude? the Jags aren't a bad team. Now, am I high on the Jags as some people are? No, I am not. I think the Jags honestly should have lost a lot worse than they did last week. Like I said in Monday's episode, I think Trevor Lawrence, could have threw more picks. The Jags capitalized on their turnovers, unlike the Bengals. And Jake Browning threw 3 picks. So, with all that being said, the Jags should have won, and they didn't. So it's just little things with the Jags. They're just very unpredictable. Are they going to play well? Are they going to have a kind of weird game like they did against the Bengals, where things happen and then that's the outcome? So we'll see. I think that I'm not going to make a prediction here, but this is very much a toss-up game too. Now, this is where it gets interesting in the 4 o'clock window. The Broncos Chargers are the game I'm looking forward to. The Bears, they are on the do not bet list, do not talk about list until they prove me otherwise. So we will skip that one. I will actually be rooting for them boys. But yeah, the Broncos and Chargers. I'm not high on the Broncos either. The Chargers after Monday night, I am getting not becoming a fan of, but I am gaining confidence in that they can win the division at the very least. Because the Chiefs do not look good; they look like a team desperately in search of offensive identity. I think the defense is there. It's not as good as it was last season or in past seasons. I think their biggest problem is finding identity on offense. So create more strain on the defense to play better. So I think that's what that is coming to play. I think with the Broncos, their defense got worse and the quarterback got worse. And their weapons, honestly, I think when you look at their offensive weapons, they don't really have any besides Bo Nix. So you expect him to work magic with what? Courtland Sutton and Mims? I'm not seeing it here. And I'm seeing a regression through of Bo Nix through 2 weeks. I don't know if anyone else is talking about it. It seems like no one else is talking about it. But when I watch him compared to last season, Bo Nix has regressed. Sophomore slump is, I'm not going to say officially in season, but it's looking like it. So I think for this one, the Chargers win. I think you take their money line. Honestly, you take the spread. I think they will easily win this game. Their defense is legit. Khalil Mack is out. He is on the IR. But it is not a season ending. I think he left the game with like an elbow. I think his elbow bent the wrong way, man. It looked terrible. But he was on the sideline cheering for his guys, and it looked like it wasn't bothering him too much. He was in a sling and stuff, so it's definitely a long-term injury, but not season ending. We'll see when he comes back. But their defense is legit. Their run game is legit. Honestly, still with they're starting. Left tackle out, Joe Alt going to left tackle. The offensive line is still legit. I like Hampton. I like Najee Harris in the backfield getting like the short yardage stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna take Chargers on this one. I think the Chargers easily take this one. I think if we're looking at divisional games, they're doing well in their division so far, and they will be 3-0. Who else do we have? I think the Sunday night game is I guess Cardinals 49ers. I mean, it's not worth. They play each other tough. Mac Jones will be starting another. I think he is starting this week as well. So this is pretty much a toss. I'm not gonna say pick one team over the other. I mean, I like Mac Jones, but he's not Brock Purdy. And the Cardinals had 2 games almost slipped from them last week in week 1. So. I'm not completely sold on the Cardinals either. This is definitely a toss-up. And Chiefs-Giants. Chiefs should get their first victory. If they do not, then we got bigger things to talk about with the Chiefs. Now, Giants defense is legit. I think at least in their defensive line and their linebackers, but I think the secondary can be had. I think we will see as the Chiefs did last week if they are able to find any offensive identity and anyone that can take advantage of said weak back end in terms of the defensive back. So we will see how they fare in this one. They also need to establish some type of run game because you can't have Mahomes be your leading rusher for potentially 3 weeks in a row. I think that's just a disaster. You're asking for the man to get hurt. And with all these starting QBs already getting hurt, we don't need to add Mahomes to that list if it's not necessary. The game of the week, I am proclaiming Lions Ravens in Baltimore. Now, the Ravens usually kill NFC opponents when they play at home. I think that stops. I think the Lions, they had a wake up. They had a wake up moment last week against the Bears, dropping 52. Um, I think the Bears have a similar defense to the Ravens. The Ravens very suspect in the secondary. They don't have Kyle Van Noy. He is out with a hamstring. That's just probably one of your better defensive players out. I think they will take advantage of this. I think the Lions will win this one. I think the Ravens go to 1-2. I don't see how any team stops either one because the Lions defense is suspect and the Ravens defense is suspect. I don't see how they stop each other, but I think the Lions have more offensive weapons than the Ravens. I think they're probably the only team that does. You got Gibbs, you got Montgomery, you got Amon-Ra, you got Jameson Williams, you got Laporta. I mean, they just stack an offense, and their offensive line is great. So I think they're going to make a statement for getting mollywhopped last year. I think this is a game that they make a statement and say, hey, week one was the aberration. Hey, it was something, wasn't right. And maybe losing both our coordinators was a wake-up call. And then in week two, we beat the Bears' ass. And in week three, we're going to beat the Ravens' ass. So that's what I'm predicting. Lions will win this one. Take the spread, take the money line, take the over. Do all that. And you will be set. That is it for week 3, guys. That is all the games for week 3. Now on to WrestlePalooza. This kicks off Saturday at 7 p.m. The main event, John Cena will take on Brock Lesnar. I believe it's a championship fight. This has been getting hyped up ever since, what was it, the end of SummerSlam when Brock Lesnar came out? And F5 John Cena. So this has been slowly brewing. I think Brock Lesnar just came onto SmackDown, it was SmackDown a couple weeks ago. So he's been kind of making some promos here and there. So we will see if this is a one-time thing or will they build this up to another PLE next month. I don't know, honestly. Remember, John Cena is ending his last match is in December 14th, I believe, and supposedly it's going to be in DC at Capital One Arena. So your boy will be there if possible. Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Cody Rhodes has been kind of MIA. I know he had his another kid recently, so shout out to him. Congratulations on that. But he is going to wrestle Drew McIntyre. Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer for the Women's World Championship. That's going to be a good match. She always puts on a good match. That is as in Io Sky. And then we got CM Punk, AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This will probably, honestly, be the best match of the night. I haven't seen AJ Lee wrestle in so long. I'm excited to see how she looks in the ring. And I think it's been a while since there's been a mixed tag team match. So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of handle this one. But my runner-up for the best match of the night will be the Usos versus the Brawns, Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. I'm just excited for this one. These guys, I mean, the two of them being Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, they just like their energy is crazy, bro. They be cracking me up, man. And the Usos, you see the little tension going on with Jay kind of taking Roman's advice a couple weeks ago, and kind of looking out for him and taking charge and kind of just taking things that he wants. So there's some long-term storytelling that's taking place here, and I'm excited to see what Mr. H has cooking up. Whether that happens during this match or after, whatever the results are, it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. But I think that's all the matches that they have on slate. We'll see if they add any more on SmackDown. They might. I could see another match or two being added on to this card for WrestlePalooza. But yeah, don't forget to tune in Saturday, 7 p.m. on ESPN, their first PLE event. Other than that, guys, that's all I have for this episode. It's going to be kind of short. We're going to kind of clip this up too and put some of this stuff on or some of these like segments on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all that good stuff. So thank you guys for watching on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening on Spotify. All that good stuff. This is the Sideline Brief Podcast, guys, episode 186, and we will see you next week. Peace.